Okay, June 10th to July 8th. So it's meeting to meeting. And the background for this is a lovely picture that I shamelessly plagiarized of Comet McNaught. And I can't remember exactly when it was. However, three things I'm going to try to hit on. Bruce was always big on doing summer solstice. What does it mean? Where is the sun? And esoteric, I think, is an apt description. So this year it's the 21st of June. And there's some interesting stuff because of that. And if we have the time afterwards, I can put on a 2-minute looping PowerPoint presentation that shows you some interesting scenic photography from that part of the world. Next is binocular deep sky objects. Now, I don't claim to be an expert at this, but I've always fumbled my way around with a Meade 2080 trying to look at galaxies and stuff. But some of them are, in fact, quite visible, not in Hubble detail, but you can see them with binoculars in a dark sky if the moon's gone. And strangely enough, when I was putting all this together, I had to advance it 2 weeks from today to get the moon out of the simulated stellarium sky so these galaxies would show. It's that sophisticated. And lastly, we're going to have some high tides in 4 and 5 days from now, and possibly bigger ones next month when the moon is at perigee. So off we go. All right, according to the handbook, 9:14 Universal Time, June 21st. Now that means it's 9:14 in London, England, or Greenwich. So it's got to be noon where the sun is overhead, and you got to be on the Tropica Cancer. So 2 hours, 46 minutes in terms of latitude at 15 degrees, or longitude, I mean, 15 degrees per hour, comes out to 41.5 east longitude. And in line with Charles's little, let's all be diverse and inclusive, marhaba ya sheikh. That's welcome, sir. It's in Saudi Arabia. And it's at the vertex of an isosceles triangle with Medina at the north and Mecca in the south. Because I lost my laser pointer, I think a cat got it. There's Mecca with the Kaaba and so forth and so on. And this is the world's greatest trailer park, by the way. They put up millions of people every year during the Hajj. And there's Medina, the other holy city. This stuff in between, these are mountains, fairly eroded, highlands and so forth. Now there's the Tropic of Cancer and 4130. That's where the sun is going to be at 9:41 UT on the 21st. Okay, so and I put the little pin in here, solstice. Now, if you haven't been to Saudi Arabia, that's a typical picture. Certainly of the western side, the eastern side, there's more sand than rock, but as you can see, there's a beautiful woman behind every tree. The light stripes are tire tracks, traffic marks, and so forth. The weather over there, you need SPF 2 million. And the sun just cooks everything, so it weathers all the minerals to a darker shade. And as soon as you disturb it, you see that. So that north-south stuff here, I zoomed in on it and it looks like vehicle tracks. I have no idea why it would all be there. But anybody who's a geologist, not that I am, but I've had to live in their close proximity for a long time. This terrain out here, those are water courses. They actually do get rain in the wintertime, sometimes a lot. And you get flash floods in the desert. I ran into one on the highway south from Russell Cayman? No, Rustenura, into about 1.5 feet of water at 50 miles an hour on the highway. And it's, I think I know what an aircraft carrier landing would feel like. It's sudden deceleration. Okay, now this is Eastern Saudi Arabia. We're getting into what I know. This is the big city, Riyadh. And I'll run you through, well, this little place, Khurais, pronounced Khurais. There's an oil field there. I drilled 3 wells. Over here, that's Bahrain. And this lovely spot is called Abqaiq or Al-Buqaiq. And you have Dahran, Al-Khobar, and Dammam. And Qatar is off over here to the right. Anyway, this little place here produces about 1.5 million barrels a day. If I can get the thing to advance.
It's called Corbet? Like named after you?
Yeah. Because there's my house.
There you go.
That little yellow thing in there. Right on, backs onto the golf course. There is no grass on the golf course. It's all sand.
Are women playing on the golf course?
No, I doubt it. They probably could have, but when it's 52 Celsius and you must wear black from head to foot, I rest my case. Now, if he can show the solstice point, this is the opposite. This is the place on the earth where the sun is directly beneath your feet at 9:41 universal time. It's not quite this bright, okay? Because by definition, it's local midnight. So that's the Tropica Capricorn. And it's 138.5. So right about, it's not tracking, whatever. You can see 138 and 30 minutes on the Tropica Capricorn. So that's where the sun is directly beneath you.
You got a house there?
No. Like I said, while you're treading water, you know where it is. Now, this is interesting. I put the little pin here that says anti-solstice. To the right, you can see a spot where there's a picture. And then up here, there's some other ones. They actually have pictures up here. They're atolls. So first, and that's about 200 kilometers east of the anti-solstice. This delightful spot of paradise is Moraine Atoll. It says it's inhabited. If you zoom in on it and scooch around from the satellite pictures, there's no sign of anything. So there'd be some mangrove, some sand, some coral sand, probably no fresh water. It looks prettier in Saudi Arabia. I think it would take you longer to die of thirst, but it might be more pleasant. Who knows? Now, Mururoa Atoll. If anybody is a longtime Greenpeace member, that may ring a bell. Because, and you look at it, and there's quite a bit of civilization there. A boat dock and streets and greenery and buildings and so on. Yeah. That's where the French did all their nuclear testing. Between 175 and 181 atomic weapons tests, atmospheric, underwater, and subsurface. You can get, I'm sure, a really good deal on real estate. I don't think it's inhabited anymore because according to one report, they set off a big one in the lagoon and emptied it. There was nothing but radioactive mollusks and sand and dead fish coming down all over. Don't know. Now I wanted to put in, and I ran out of time, the one shot when you zoom out on Google Earth, you can see up in one corner, Baja California, down in the other corner, New Zealand, and ocean. So that's why we're a water planet. Now, binocular deep sky objects, like I said, I haven't done this myself. I've messed around with a telescope, but I should do more binocular work. Now, I plugged in, this is a view of Stellarium with 10 by 50 binoculars. That's this stuff up here. And I turned on all the labels, and this is, well, there's M87 in Virgo, that one that's highlighted in the middle. And it's a monster. You can see Markarian's chain to the right of it, and a whole whack of other galaxies in a whole Virgo supercluster. Now that's, you know, of course, as we know, you can't look up and see all those letters in the sky. So that's what it looks like without them. But you can still see them. And that's 10 by 50 binoculars will get you that view. Now I had to take the moon out of the sky. I advanced it 2 weeks. But if you've got steady hands or a decent tripod and a pair of 10 by 50 binoculars, you can see them if it's a dark sky and your eyes are good. And there's something like 15 galaxies in that field. So that is left as an exercise for the reader. Now, Bruce managed to download this silly thing off the Government of Canada website. We hit the moon, rather, is at its second closest perigee on the 14th of June. It's about 200 kilometers or 150 kilometers further from Earth this June than it will be in July. But it's 400 or 390,000 kilometers away anyway, so it's pretty close. And what you can see is the maximums increase, but the minimums drop too. And the reference mark, you can see the titles all along the bottom. One division above that is reference 0. And you can see it actually dips below that on the 14th. So that's going to be about as low as I've ever seen it, according to this set of predictions. And the last time it was that low, I think, was December of a year ago. And I got pictures. If you go down to the Davis Bay Pier, there's a group of pilings just inside of the T portion of the dock. And that group of pilings was dry, which is something. And yet 12 hours before, you couldn't get a kayak underneath the pier. Not upright. So anyway, I hope that's entertained you and you will take your binoculars out and go nuts. I put this together when I was working in the Yukon. It's a 2-minute thing. It's self-explanatory. That's that cake. That was house number 1. There are 2 wild dogs in that picture.
Okay.
They followed the camp around. There is no vegetation for 100 miles. That's the Corbet field. That's my Saudi driver's license. That's the camel market in Hufuf. And I watched 3 guys put 2 sheep into the trunk of a Toyota Corolla. That's at the Bentayan field in South Sumatra. Some local guy shot a gibbon, took its baby and wanted to sell it to the expats. So they had the guys beat the crap out of him and took away his baby gibbon. That's 6,000 barrels a day going up in smoke. And if you watch any of the stuff from Desert Storm, that was the hotel that Peter Arnett was in. There's this little water tower on the horizon from that first night of Desert Storm. And that says it in a nutshell. That was not intended to be ironic.